Good day. Welcome to today's training. So today we'll be talking about Django. So Django is a Python framework for web development. So Django can be used in creating full stack projects, and also Django can also be used in creating RESTful APIs. So now we'll be working on how to use Django to create a full stack project first. So by using the Django documentation. So on the documentation there is a practice here that's creating a polling system which user can vote. You can vote, and also you can also view numbers of votes. So now let's get started. So that we can see how to go over that. So now first thing I'll do is I'll come to my file explorer, create a new folder. Let me call the folder Django tutorial. So I'm having this called Django 2. So now I'll go to my VS Code. So if you don't have you don't have Visual Studio Code installed, so you can download and install Visual Studio Code. So I'll go to my Visual Studio Code, and now I'll come to File, come to Open Folder, and then I'll need to open. So it's under my document, Django and Django tutorial. So I'll need to open this new folder I created. Open. So Visual Studio Code will open the folder. So the next thing I have to do is I have to come open my terminal inside my Visual Studio Code. So we can open terminal using, okay, I have to trust this folder. I trust this author. So there are two ways of opening the terminal. I can come down, I can come here in the nav bar, in the navigation bar here, we have in terminal. Come to my terminal here, click on new terminal. Or I can also come down, I can also come I also press a shortcut on my keyboard. That's control apostrophe, that's the number before number 1 on your keyboard. So it's going to open my terminal. So now the first thing we have to do is we have to install Django, because Django is a library in Python. So we need to install it before we can use it. So, and one thing I like to do most is I like to always install my library software for a project inside a virtual environment. So I need to install a virtual environment first. So let's just pip install. Okay, no, just to create a virtual environment, just Python -m venv dot. So I'm this Python 3. On Windows, it can just be Python -m venv. So call it for virtual environment. So now the name you want to give your virtual environment. So you can give your virtual environment any name. So I'm giving my virtual environment .venv. So click on enter. So this will create a virtual environment folder here. So it's still running, still trying to create the virtual environment folders and files. Okay, so it's done. So now if I come here now, I'll be seeing my bin, include my lib and lib64. So these are, and then the pi venv config. So this is my virtual environment. So next thing I have to do is I have to activate this virtual environment. So to activate the virtual environment, we use dot source dot venv source dot the name of the virtual environment, which is dot venv in my own case, slash bin slash activate. So activate. But if you're on Windows, you just need to do dot venv slash, so yours will be source slash activate. So that's for Windows, but right now I'm on Linux distro. So now, okay, what we just do is come to this the folder .venv. This is the bin file. bin. So on Windows, it will be source. Sorry, it will be scripts, not bin, not source. Scripts, just slash scripts, and then slash activate. So that's what so that's how activate the virtual environment. So now we can now install our libraries inside this virtual. So now we can now install our libraries inside this virtual environment. So to install, we use the pip keyword, pip install Django, Django. So pip install Django, click on the enter button. So that will install Django into your virtual environment. Okay, so now what so now this is telling me that successfully install ASGRF, Django, and SQL phrase. So now Django is installed. So Django installed is Django 5.14, which I think that's the latest Django version. So now I can clear my terminal, using the keyword clear, and if it's a window, just CLS and enter. So now I have Python installed. I have Django installed in this virtual environment. So now if I come check the my lib, so I can see now Django 5.1 is installed. So Django is installed. So now let me close this back. So now I have come now to create a Django project. Because after that, the next thing we do is just to create our Django project. So I'll do Django admin, start project, and the name of my project. Let's say our project is just called let's say I want to call my project let's say Django tutorial. Django. Okay, now let's say port system, port underscore system. So I'm putting this dot because I want to create this project inside this Django tutorial directory. But if you just put this dot, it's going to create another folder for another folder called port system, and it will now put the project inside that folder. But I want to create inside this Django tutorial folder, so I'll put in a full stop sign stating that I want it inside this current directory. So click on enter. So now I'm having my post system. So now these files we are having. So let me explain that one by one. So first of all, explain this manager.py. So what manager.py is doing is that manager.py is the one running all administrative tasks for our Django project. So it's like a command line utility that lets us interact with Django project in various ways. So I will drop the link to Django documentation, also the link to read more about the function of managers py and so on inside under the description. So next one is, and also while we're working on this, you're going to see how we use the managers py. Also, we're having the init .py folder file. So it's an empty file. So it's empty. Okay, it's an empty file that tells the Python that this directory should be considered as the Python package. So this directory is the Python project package. So this directory is once staying as a parent directory. So that's the project. So now next one we have settings. So settings is for configuration. That's where we configure everything our project will be all about. So that is one controlling or what our project is doing and what it should not be doing. Also, when we create Django administer project post system, it also creates this secret key for us. So without this secret key, we won't be able to run a Django application. So this secret key has to be there. You don't have to tamper with it. Just leave it the way it is. So later in future, we can just move this secret key to a environment variable, but now we're leaving it the way it is. Also, we're having the URL.py, which is used for routing. So it's one we are giving each of our routes. For example, let's say let me use it's a book for example. So we are having the table of contents in a PDF book. So the moment you click on any of the table of content, it moves you directly to the page where that content is. So that's also similar to our URL list. It's just like routing. For example, you go to /admin, take you to the admin page, /home, take you to the home page, /blog, take you to the blog page, /quiz, take you to the quiz page, and so on. So it's just the one where you're using to route. It's only using to route which page the website should go. So okay, now we're having the WSGI. WSGI is an entry point for any WSGI compatible web server. So it's the one serving our project. So it's the one making our project accessible online. So those are the explanation on everything we have inside this poll system and also our manager's PY. So now the next thing we have to do is we have to now check if this configuration is working fine. That's we have to run this server. So we do call it run server because after running the server, so now we can now view it online. So to run server now I have to use Python manage.py. So now I'm using this manage.py, which I say that it's the command line utility that allows us to interact our Django project. So by running this now, so I'll be able to. So anytime I do Python manage.py, so it will be run server. So this manage.py is the one helping us in doing that. So that's why as I said, it's the one running all administrative tasks. So Python manage.py run server. Click on enter. So now we can now see that so it's telling us that our development server is at http 127.0.0.1 port 8000. So this 127.0.0.1 is just the local host port. That's the local host port for all system. So Django always run at port 8000, but we can configure it to run on different ports. But default port for Django is port 8000. So you can just click on control and then click on this link. Hold down on control and click. So just open it up on your browser. So the moment you're having this rocket sign, they still work successfully. Congratulations. So that means all your configuration is working fine. So now what we'll be doing next is now working on this poll application, which will be the one I'll be taking you through. So we're going to go through that step by step so that you can understand that better. Okay, so why this is running found, so I can so now okay, so now you can see that it's running at port 8000 on 7.0.0.1 as port 8000. So the next thing that we have to do is now we have to, so I can stop this out by just typing Control C. So that will kill the server. So the next thing we can now do is we have to create an application. We have to create an app inside our project. So now creating an app inside our project. Now so now let me the difference between a project and an app. So now what we're having here is a project. So let's have an app. An app is just a web application that does something. For example, a blog system, a database of public record, an authentication system, an invoicing system, and so on. All those are apps. So a project is now, let's say we are now combining all those applications together. They're now having them under one single file. So that file is called a project because it's the one holding all those applications together. So now what we're having here is our project. So now I have to create a file. I have to create an app inside my project. So what I just use Python manage.py start app. So you can see we are also using this manage.py again. So now the command we're using now is start app. To run server, we use manage.py run server to run our server, which is this. But now to create an application, say start app, and let me call it polls, polls. So startup polls. So now you can see it's create a new folder called polls here, which is an application which I'm having the int.py. Also working as the same thing as what this is working for. That's just telling the program that this is the app file, which is also empty. Having the admin.py, that is where we register we register all our models so we can view it in the admin dashboard, which we're going to see that later. We're having the apps.py. So the app.py is just to just registering our application. Models.py, that's where we create our models. So creating your models is just like creating a table in the database. So because Python supports an ORM, uh, is an ORM language. So Django is an ORM framework. So you don't need to go to your database to start writing an SQL script to create table and so on. So just the moment you create your model, we run the command manage.py, make migration and migrate. So it's going to help you create the table automatically on the database, which we're going to see that also. So test.py is just used for testing our application. So you can use the test. So we can run a unit test on our application the moment we are done to it, so to see if each of the each of the routes are working fine. Views.py, that's where we create all our views, write your functions and so on, write a function and write a logic, and then so that that'll be what we're passing, what the route or the URL will be showing. So okay, now let's continue with this. So the first thing we're doing here is the moment we create an app, so we have to come register it inside our settings.py, because the settings.py is the one controlling the whole application. So come to my settings.py. Now come to under this installed app. So we have an installed app here. So I'll come down. I'll come after the last one. I'll just open my code. Open my uh uh so it will be it must be a string. So that will pose. So pose is okay, and put a comma. So I've already registered my application. So now it's going to recognize that this pose is an application under this project. So after that, now let me go to my views. Just try an example. So I want to render it to just say hello world. This is a polling system in the on our web browser. So first of all, I have to import. Let me erase this commented. So we don't need. So let me just import HTTP response. So from Django.http import HTTP response. So I can now say def. So now we're using the function. So that's why as I said before, that before you move to Django, you have to understand all the Python basics: function, class, your lists, your string manipulation, and so on. So you have to understand, because you are going to use, you're going to come back here to use everything you have practiced on Django on your Python basics. So def index. So I'm calling for a function index. So request. So I can say return HTTP response. So hello world, you are at the poll index. So now this won't just show on our web browser like this. So now we have to come register it inside our URLs. So I will come to my post now. I'll create a new file called urls.py. So now I'm creating a new URLs inside my app, and then we're also having one here. So now what I just do is from Django.urls import path. I can say URL pattern. So we're going to be having this. So I can now say path. So now you're calling view. Okay, now we need to import views. So I can now say from post. So because I'm trying to I'm trying to send these views to the URLs. So now I need to import these views so that URL can know exactly where I'm getting my function from. So I can say from post import views. So now I can now say path, something that this should be just empty. So views, so it's calling for back for these views dot index. So calling for this view and getting this index function. So now after that we can have name is equals to index. So after that now we're having this part in our URLs, but now also when we are creating a new URLs inside our application, we need to register it inside the you need to register inside the URL, you need to register the URLs inside the project also. So come to this URLs is py. Now I have to come say in this way we're having from Django the URLs import part, we just put comma include. So we're also importing include. So now I can now come here to say path let me say post / comma include. So I'm going to include post, which is the name of my application dot URL. That's the new URL I just created. So I'm going to include it inside the project route. So now I can come back again. Now we can now come here to run our server, which is just Python manage.py run server. So we're having now we can go back to our path now. Go to my browser and then by running this again, so I'll be having this page not form because I already have an application under it. So now what the route we created here is /post. So I can now come here to say /post. So we can now have hello world, you are the poll index. So now once we're having that, so we can now see that our application, so the product is now recognizing our app, so everything is working fine. So now moving to the next part, which will be where we create our models and so on, so that we can now start working on the polling system fully. And please like, comment, and subscribe.